everyone, it's Leslie from Lolabelle, and in today's video we are going to be looking at this design using a teardrop shaped cabochon and creating these flowing light patterns with the wire. So if you want to see how I put this one together, then stick around and watch the video. So we're going to be wrapping this nephrite jade. We're going to do it in copper, and I'm currently trying to decide if I go point down or point up. I think point up for this one. It's quite a long, thin cabochon. I'm going to be doing this with copper wire. I'm going to stick to my old trusty square wire for this one as well. So I've got four lengths of 0.8mm square copper, soft. And I've straightened them all out, and I'm just going to get a small piece of half round dead soft copper, which is 0.4 mil, and I'm just going to connect my base wires together. I'm going to zoom out because otherwise you're not going to see diddly of what I'm doing. Right, so we're just going to do a straightforward wrap around the bottom, just to connect all of the wires together and give us our starting block for the frame, and then obviously we'll build from there. I'm just going to get my flat nose pliers and give everything a bit of a swoosh, make it all nice and flat and tidy, and then give it a bit of a tighten up there, and then smush it all together. I don't want too much at the bottom for this one because it's not a particularly wide cabochon, so I'm going to cut things off there. I think that's quite enough, and then just give the ends a bit of a smush down. So when you're doing the base of your pendant, you want your wire ends to point inwards, so they're going towards the stone, and that's just going to stop them catching on clothing, etc. Now I'm just going to check my logic on this, make some space. So I actually think the green stands out more if you have it point down, so I'm going to change my mind. I'm actually going to go point down. So what I'm going to do is just hold on to the wires with my flat nose pliers here, and I'm just going to bend everything up, trying to keep the wires nice and straight, so you've got a nice sort of angled point. So your stone is going to sit just inside, and obviously we're going to shape the frame up and around. So before I do anything more, I actually want to tighten this up a little bit more. It is quite a narrow pendant. That's a bit better. Okay, so I've got the initial shape of the frame at the bottom. So I'm just going to pinch the wires. I'm holding the stone down with my finger. I'm just going to pinch the wires up so they come up and around the stone, and then gradually pull them in. And I'm going to have some negative space at the top on this one, so I want to try and keep that gap up there. And in doing so, give myself somewhere to connect wires to as well. So all I'm going to do is find the point on the top of the frame where I want the bail to start shaping, give that a little bit of a bend outwards, and then do the same on the other side, trying to keep it obviously level. And obviously if it doesn't go completely level, you can obviously go back and change things, but that's gone, yeah, that's gone quite nicely, I think. So you can see the shape of the frame already. I'm not going to connect the stone just yet. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to connect these wires together. So I'm going to grab myself some more half round. Snip that off. And then I'm just going to obviously keep the flat side down, flatten off all of these wires now pointing up. So you're going to 4 to one side, 4 to the other, and you want to try and get them to sit flat against each other so you get a nice straight bail movement. And then we're just going to pull that half round around a few times just to connect all of this together. 4, maybe 5 wraps is fine, and then we'll give it all a smush. And what we're going to do is the tail that we've got left over here is we're just going to use that to bring this neck of the bail down towards where the stone's going to sit. And then using my chain nose pliers, I'm just going to bring that wire up through, connect the end of the wire so it doesn't unravel, doesn't catch, etc. Just going to push that up, and I'm just going to get my flush cutters, trim that end off, and then give it all a bit of a smush. So now we bring our stone back, and we can bring it into the frame, and everything starts to sit quite nicely. Now this is where we can start to secure the stone. So I'm just going to grab the back wire, gently twist it in. Same on the other side, gently twist it in. So we've now got, see, the stone's not falling out already because the frame is sitting and holding it quite nicely. Then we're just going to get the frontmost wire and just kick in at the base of that wire, and then you can see the front of the wire is secure as well, so the stone isn't going anywhere. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to pull the front 2 most wires, I'm going to bring them forwards. They are going to make my bail, and then the 3 wires on each side, so we've got 3 to the right, 3 to the left. I'm just going to bend them out of the way for a minute. They're just going to come down like so. So you've got this situation. Now because I'm using half round and I'm not on the spool, I just want to make sure that this half round wire doesn't start to twist, because it can look a little bit messy if it does. Normally when I say that on one of these videos, it then twists. So let's just see. So as you can see, I'm holding the wire between my finger and my thumbnail, and I'm just twisting the pendant rather than the wire. So this helps us keep the wire flat side down. It also allows us to feel if there's any kinks coming up the wire that we need to sort of remedy before we get to the actual wrapping itself. So we want to get these 2 wires wrapped up. This is going to make up our bail. Once we've got enough of this wrapped up, we'll bend it over and we'll just secure the bail down. So you can see, I'm sorry this keeps going out of focus, my phone just wants to autofocus. I've tried turning it off, so I apologise if it keeps whopping in and out of focus. I have retrieved my old phone to try and charge that up to see if I can use that instead, because it allows me to turn off the autofocus. Right, so there we go. So once we've got enough of that wrapped, we just get our flat nose pliers and we just flatten everything off. Make sure it's all nice and straight. And that is going to make up our bail. I'm going to zoom out again. I'm going to grab my bail making pliers and I'm just going to wrap that around, and then you can see here at the back I'm just going to bring it down so where this wire ends is roughly where this wire begins. Moving these lovely decorative wires out of the way, we're going to go back to our half round wire. This is where I swap hands. So we've got the bail wires just sitting at the back, and again we're just going to turn the pendant, keeping that wire, that half round wire, nice and flush, lined up to the last wrap, and we just go down over the top of the wrap that was there before. So we're just kind of covering our work, making everything look a little bit tidier. Once we've come down that far, we're just going to lift up these two back tails, and then we're just going to pull this down behind and secure that back wire there, and then just snip off the excess. Once you've got this part of the pendant built, it's really, that's when the playful side of this, the creative side of this thing comes in. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab my flat nose pliers. Just going to make sure everything is straight. And then with these two tail wires from the bail, I'm just going to pull them to the front. And then I'm going to shortcut them. So we've got two little stubby bits. And then with that, chain those pliers, we are just going to fold that around the frame wires. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. There. So we've just connected those two wires and took them out of the way. We don't need them. So you can see that they're just hooked in, come around the back, and they're just hooked in there. Okay, so all you've got now is the decorative wires. So what we're going to do is, we're going to try to think what to do. So we're going to come around and we're going to do a tight little swirl, and we're going to carry that spiral on. So we're going to turn the swirl into a spiral. So then that there just brings a little bit of shape. Second wire, we're going to do the same. We're going to bring it around, but we're not going to follow that wire completely. We're just going to follow it to the side there. And then the third wire, I'm going to move these three out of the way, otherwise I'm going to get caught on them. Third wire is going to come across, still in the way, come across, and we're going to do a tight little swirl and then follow the other two wires around. So we've now got this sort of shape. And And then if you've got the wires and they want them to sit completely flush, just get your flat nose pliers, bring them in, bring it all into play. So with these two wires, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first one around and the second one around. So they're just going to come around behind. Try not to hit the camera. And then they're just going to come, oh, they're going to just come around, and I'm going to cut them off. And then just hook them down onto the frame wires there. Nice. I'm just going to grab all of this and just make sure that, because it moved as I was coming over. That's it. And this wire is just going to hang around here for a second. Now we're going to take the front wire from this side. I hope you can see what I'm doing, because my lighting seems really dark today, so I'm very sorry if it's all a little bit dark. So then what I'm going to do is this one is going to come and catch up with this one. And I'm just going to push that one down in a little bit more. I want that one to curve that way a bit more. That's it. So you've got those two there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them so they come around. So they've come around behind the stone. And they are going to connect to this back wire. Now this bit is a little bit tricky. So lift that back wire up. So what you want to do is hold where that wire is between your thumb and your finger, still supporting the pendant and the stone. And you're just going to gently tease that wire around. And then we're going to snip, snip. And then tuck that end. Tuck that end in. Oh, grip hold of that thing. There we go. That's it. There. So you can see you've still got that shape. And then this one is going to do the same. So we want to pull it in so it sits with that one. And then we just tease that wire so it comes through. Now our space here is a little bit tight, but we've got the end through, so we just need to be a little bit roughhousing with this end. That's it. Get it through that gap. And then bring it down. And then shape. That's it. And then swoosh. Like so. So then what we're going to do is just grab those flat nose pliers. Get these to sit side by side. So if one's a little bit argumentative, you can just shape it up from the other end. So yeah, there you go, it's got like that swoosh. So then with these other two wires, we're going to come out. I'm going to put another wire around there in a minute, just to hold it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come out a little bit wider. It's going to come in close. And then it's going to come back like so. So I'm just going to hold that there with my thumb, bend it round the back, and then cut off the excess, or some of the excess. And then I'm going to lift up that back wire. You may need to have a bit of a reshape when you have finished attaching all of your wires. That's fine, as long as your wires haven't then had like the shape really taken out of what you've just done. You'll be fine. And I'm sorry, I haven't looked at the camera, so I'm so sorry if I have been completely off camera for this one. Terrible at YouTube, aren't I? Okay. So, let's give that one a snip. Bring it round. Smush. Right, so that's quite good actually, that hasn't moved that much. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of half round and I'm just going to do 2 little sections. So I'm going to do one here because I want these wires to sit next to each other, not on top of each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the half round and I'm just going to do a few little wraps here, maybe 3 or 4. There we go, do 5. Do an extra one for luck. Oops, there we go. And then all I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim the excess away. And then get my flat nose pliers. And then I'm just going to use my fingernail and just slide it up. So then you can see that's going to hold those 2 wires next to each other. And then the other one, the other point I'm going to do is up here. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to attach these 3 wires together. So I'm just going to go around those 3. I need to kink that up a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to pull them in. Need a third hand sometimes when I'm doing this. Okay, so 2 ropes. Three. That one down. How have you gone on top of each other? That's it. There we go. 2, 3. And then four like that. And then again, flat nose pliers. Bring it in. Give it a swish. And then remove the excess. And again, as I say, just make sure that all of the loose ends are on the inside of the pendant. Cool. Excellent. And then just one last little squish there. One last little squish there. And there you have a different style of pendant, so you've got some nice sort of flowing shapes. Camera's really not focusing well today. Nice flowing shapes that come around. The stone is completely on view as well, which is nice because obviously that is the star of the show. There's some nice negative space. You could put a bead in there if you wanted to, or maybe even put a bead up in here if you wanted to. You could even put a couple of little beads on this swoop here, so they sort of sit between the top and here. Or even here, you know, you could really embellish this one quite a lot. So there you go. A teardrop shaped cabochon from start to finish. So if you've got any questions, anything that you want to know about this design, then by all means, please get in touch. Drop a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. I drop a tutorial every Sunday evening, and I look forward to hearing from you and how you're getting on with your wire wrapping. So I'll leave you for now, but I hope to see you in the next video, and take care of yourselves until then. See you later. Bye.